Hermetic Qabala is a Western esoteric, occult and mystical tradition. It is the underlying philosophy and framework for magical societies such as the Golden Dawn, Thelemic orders, mystical religious societies such as the Builders of the Adytum and the Fellowship of the Rosy Cross, and is a precursor to the Neopagan, Wiccan and New Age movements. The Hermetic Qabala is the basis for Qliphothic Qabala as studied by left-hand path orders, such as the Typhonian Order. Occult Hermetic Qabalah arose alongside and united with the Christian Cabalistic involvement in the European Renaissance, becoming variously esoteric Christian, non-Christian, or anti-Christian across its different schools in the modern era. It draws on a great many influences, most notably, Jewish Kabbalah, Western astrology, alchemy, pagan religions, especially Egyptian and Greco-Roman, Neoplatonism, Gnosticism, the Enochian system of angelic magic of John Dee and Edward Kelley, hermeticism, tantra and the symbolism of the tarot. Hermetic Qabala differs from the Jewish form in being a more admittedly syncretic system, however it shares many concepts with Jewish Kabbalah. Teachings Conception of divinity A primary concern of Hermetic Qabala is the nature of divinity, its conception of which is quite markedly different from that presented in monotheistic religions. In particular, there is not the strict separation between divinity and humankind which is seen in monotheisms. Hermetic Qabala holds to the Neoplatonic conception that the manifest universe, of which material creation is a part, arose as a series of emanations from the Godhead. These emanations arise out of three preliminary states that are considered to precede manifestation. The first is a state of complete nullity, known as Ein. The second state, considered a concentration of Ein, is Ein Sof. The third state, caused by a movement of Ein Sof, is Ein Sof Od, and it is from this initial brilliance that the first emanation of creation originates. The Sephiroth in Hermetic Qabala . The emanations of creation arising from Ein Sof are 10 in number, and are called Sephiroth. These are conceptualized somewhat differently in Hermetic Qabala to the way they are in Jewish Kabbalah. From Ein Sof crystallizes Kether, the first Sephirah of the Hermetic Kabbalistic tree of life. From Kether emanate the rest of the Sephirot in turn, viz. Kether, Chokmah, Binah, Darth, Shezd, Jibura, Tifereth, Netzch, Hod, Yesod, Markuf. Darth is not assigned a number as it is considered part of Binah or a hidden Sephirah. Each Sephirah is considered to be an emanation of the divine energy whichever flows from the unmanifest, through Kether into manifestation. This flow of light is indicated by the lightning flash shown on diagrams of the Sephirotic tree which passes through each Sephirah in turn according to their enumerations. Each Sephirah is a nexus of divine energy and each has a number of attributions. These attributions enable the Kabbalist to form a comprehension of each particular Sephirah's characteristics. This manner of applying many attributions to each Sephirah is an exemplar of the diverse nature of Hermetic Qabala. For example, the Sephirah Hod has the attributions of glory, perfect intelligence, the eights of the tarot deck, the planet Mercury, the Egyptian god Thoth, the archangel Michael, the Roman god Mercury and the alchemical element Mercury. The general principle involved is that the Kabbalist will meditate on all these attributions and by this means acquire an understanding of the character of the Sephirah including all its correspondences. Tarot and the Tree of Life . Hermetic Kabbalists see the cards of the tarot as keys to the Tree of Life. The 22 cards including the 21 trumps plus the Fool or Zero card are often called the Major Arcana, or Greater Mysteries, and are seen as corresponding to the 22 Hebrew letters and the 22 paths of the tree. The Ace to 10 in each suit correspond to the 10 Sephiroth in the 4 Kabbalistic worlds. And the 16 court cards relate to the classical elements in the 4 worlds. While the Sephiroth describe the nature of divinity, the paths between them describe ways of knowing the divine. History Hermetic views of Kabbalah origins Traditionalist Judaic views of Kabbalah's origins view it as an inherent development from within the Jewish religion, perhaps expressed through syncretic terminology from medieval Jewish Neoplatonism. Contemporary academics of Jewish mysticism have reassessed Gershom Schulem's theory that the new doctrine of medieval Kabbalah assimilated an earlier Jewish version of Gnosticism. Moshe Idel instead has posited a historical continuity of development from early Jewish mysticism. In contrast, Hermeticists have taken different views of Kabbalah's origins. Some authors see the origins of Kabbalah not in Semitic Jewish mysticism, or ancient Egyptian Gnosticism, but in a Western tradition originating in classical Greece with Indo-European cultural roots, later adopted by Jewish mystics. According to this view, Hermetic Qabala would be the original Kabbalah, even though the word itself is Judaic Hebrew, over the Christian Kabbalah or the Jewish Kabbalah. Alongside the historical process of Christian conversion from paganism, Jewish mystical circles would have been able to incorporate gematria and the tree of life to their own concepts and fully monotheistic framework, without being suspect. Christians, in contrast, would have been persecuted for the same process, as it would have been similar to their pre-Christian polytheistic panentheism. With the Renaissance, this wisdom would have been relearned by Christianity from Judaism. Renaissance occultism Jewish Kabbalah was absorbed into the Hermetic tradition at least as early as the 15th century when Giovanni Pico della Mirandola promoted a syncretic worldview combining Platonism, Neoplatonism, Aristotelianism, Hermeticism and Kabbalah. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, a German magician, occult writer, theologian, astrologer, and alchemist, wrote the influential 3 books of occult philosophy, incorporating Kabbalah in its theory and practice of Western magic. It contributed strongly to the Renaissance view of ritual magic's relationship with Christianity. Pico's Hermetic syncretism was further developed by Athanasius Kircher, a Jesuit priest, Hermeticist and polymath, who wrote extensively on the subject in 1652, bringing further elements such as Orphism and Egyptian mythology to the mix. Enlightenment era Esoteric Societies Once Hermeticism was no longer endorsed by the Christian Church, it was driven underground and a number of Hermetic brotherhoods were formed. With the Enlightenment Age of Reason and its skepticism of mainstream religion, the tradition of exoteric theological Christian Kabbalah declined, while esoteric occult Hermetic Qabala flourished in the Western mystery tradition. Non-Jewish Kabbalah, unlike in Judaic Kabbalah's mainstream censure of its magical side, became a central component of Western occult, magic and divination. Rosicrucianism and esoteric branches of Freemasonry taught religious philosophies, Kabbalah, and divine magic in progressive steps of initiation. Their esoteric teachings, and secret society structure of an outer body governed by a restricted inner level of adepts, laid the format for modern esoteric organizations. 19th century magical revival Post-Enlightenment Romanticism encouraged societal interest in occultism, of which Hermetic Cabalistic writing was a feature. Francis Barrett's The Magus Handbook of Ceremonial Magic gained little notice until it influenced the French magical enthusiast Eliphas Levi. His fanciful literary embellishments of magical invocations presented Kabbalism as synonymous with both so-called white and so-called black magic. Levi's innovations included attributing the Hebrew letters to the tarot cards, thus formulating a link between Western magic and Jewish esotericism which has remained fundamental ever since in Western magic. Levi had a deep impact on the magic of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Through the occultists inspired by him, Levi is remembered as one of the key founders of the 20th century revival of magic. Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn Hermetic Qabala was developed extensively by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Within the Golden Dawn, the fusing of Kabbalistic principles such as the 10 Sephiroth with Greek and Egyptian deities was made more cohesive and was extended to encompass other systems such as the Enochian system of angelic magic of John Dee and certain Eastern concepts, all within the structure of a Masonic or Rosicrucian-style esoteric order. Aleister Crowley, who passed through the Golden Dawn before going on to form his own magical orders, is the most widely known exponent of Hermetic magic or magic as he preferred to spell it. Crowley's book Liber 777 is a good illustration of the wider Hermetic approach. It is a set of tables of correspondences relating various parts of ceremonial magic and Eastern and Western religion to the 32 numbers representing the 10 spheres plus the 22 paths of the Kabbalistic tree of life. The panentheistic nature of Hermetic Kabbalists is plainly evident here, as one may simply check the table to see that Shezd corresponds to Jupiter, Isis, the color blue, Poseidon, Brahma, and Amethyst. After the Golden Dawn many of the Golden Dawn's rituals were published by Crowley, altered in various ways to align them with his own New Aeon magical approach. Israel Regardie eventually compiled the more traditional forms of these rituals and published them in book form. Dion Fortune, an initiate of Alpha A Omega, who went on to found the Fraternity of the Inner Light, wrote the seminal book The Mystical Qabala, widely considered one of the best general introductions to modern Hermetic Qabala. Paul Foster Case was an American occultist and author of influential books on occult tarot and Kabbalah. He founded the Builders of the Adytum Mystery School, rooted in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and the Masonic Blue Lodge system, later extended by Ann Davis. BOTA teaches esoteric psychology, occult tarot, Hermetic Qabala, astrology, and meditation. Pat Zalewski is a student of Jack Taylor, who was in turn a student of Robert Felkin's Golden Dawn School, as taught in New Zealand after Felkin emigrated there. Zalewski has published numerous on Hermetic Qabala and the Golden Dawn tradition. Samuel Ornweir has written many significant works that discuss Kabbalah within many religions, such as the Egyptian, pagan, and Central American religions, which is summarized in his work The Initiatic Path in the Arcana of Tarot and Kabbalah. See also: English Kabbalah, Goetia, Hermetism and Other Religions, Invocation, Magical Organizations, Renaissance Magic, Thaumaturgy, Theosophy, Thugy, Sephirot, Western Esotericism. References. Further reading: Paul A. Clark. The Hermetic Qabala. Fraternity of the Hidden Light. 1999, Dion Fortune. The Mystical Qabala. Arziloth Books. 2012, Lon Milo Duquette The Chicken Qabala of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford, Dilettante's Guide to What You Do and Do Not Need to Know to Become a Kabbalist, Wiser Books, 2001. John Michael Greer. Paths of Wisdom, A Guide to the Magical Kabbalah. Thoth Publications 2007, Israel Regardie. A Garden of Pomegranates, Scrying on the Tree of Life. Llewellyn Publications 1995, Kocher von Stuckrad. Kabbalah and Modernity, Interpretations, Transformations, Adaptations. Brill. 2010. External links: Survey of Occultism in the Renaissance, Hermetic Qabala website, The Mystical Qabala PDF from the Society of the Inner Light.